In the 1970s, China set out to create the tallest player the world has ever seen. But there's just one problem. The average Chinese male at the time was around 5'6", and the average height of an NBA player was about 6'6". So China turned to biology. They found Yao and Feng, two of the country's top basketball players. Yao was 6'10" and had been playing basketball ever since he was young. Feng was 6'2" and captain of the women's national Chinese basketball team. The pair was encouraged to get married, and soon after, a baby was produced. Correction, a behemoth was forged. On September 12, 1980, an 11-pound giant of a baby was born, Yao Ming. Stay with us, the ridiculousness is just getting started. For decades, Yao was raised and trained like no other athlete in human history. He was given everything, from the superstar meals, naps during school, and a heavy diet of bug fungus that would cost NBA players over $60,000 per pound. These are all facts, and this is the crazy story about the creation of Yao Ming. Creating a tall athlete is a product of both nature and nurture, and the nature part was taken care of. The nurture, though, would have to be a careful process to let Yao reach his maximum height. The Shanghai Sports Commission monitored Yao's birth and childhood very closely, and they were itching to get a hold of him in their sports system, even though young Yao showed no signs of being a top athlete. When Yao was 7, he was shooting in a free throw contest with his classmates. But while he towered over the rest of his peers, he airballed the shot, and embarrassment overwhelmed him. By age 8, Yao was already 5'7", and numerous sports schools were knocking on Feng's door. They were hoping his height would be enough and the skills would follow, but the lack of talent on the court opened up crevices of doubt. Still, Shanghai's Yuwei District Sports School was able to recruit him to attend. For 6 days a week, Yao was put through grueling conditioning and basketball drills. Without stamina or love of the game, Yao wanted to quit. So one day his dad came up with a different approach. Yao came home ready to give up basketball. So his father took him to the hoop in their backyard. And for every shot Yao made, his father would buy him small gifts. Just a little extra motivation for him to continue to get better. It wasn't much, but it worked. Yao continued on at the sports school, even though he was uncoordinated and would constantly drop passes and miss open shots. He was 6'2" by the time he was 11, and his mother tried to get him out of the system. She took him out and enrolled him into a more academically focused school. And Yao was grateful. He loved learning and could finally concentrate on his studies while still playing on the school's basketball team. But he enrolled in the school after the year had started, and there was too much for Yao to catch up on. He couldn't keep up, and he eventually went back to the Zhuyi Sports District. But his mom took solace in one thing. The nation's top athletes get an additional 200 points on their university entrance exams. There was still hope for a future that didn't involve basketball, she believed. But this time around, Yao thrived in the sports school, in part because of the special treatment he was given. He was excused from all physical labor, like carrying sports equipment. The school even had a special budget to make sure Yao was taken care of and had nutritious meals. When he was 13, he was 6'6", and he moved to the Sports Technology Institute in Shanghai. There, they had an exhausting 8-hour session a day. But the special treatment continued, believing that more sleep meant more growth. Yao was the only student given special nap times. Living out every student's dream, he was actually allowed to show up late to afternoon practices because of his afternoon naps. And to prevent injury, he was excused from full contact scrimmages and the more rigorous drills. He was fed healthy meals each day and was allowed to eat in the champions room, where only the top level athletes ate. Yao was even fed nutritional supplements to help promote his growth and stamina. One supplement was known as caterpillar fungus, a rare growth on a dead caterpillar. Back in the Ming Dynasty, China used it to help their soldiers with strength and endurance. Hundreds of years later, it was being used to help a skinny middle schooler play better on the basketball court. And it all paid off. Yao grew to an enormous 7'6", 2 inches taller than his predicted height in his childhood at 7'4". On the hardwood, Yao played on the junior team of the Shanghai Sharks for 4 years, before playing on the senior team for 5 years. In 2001, when he was 20 years old, discussions started to heat up between the NBA and the Sharks. The NBA wanted a hold of this monstrous new center across the sea, but Yao Ming, the deputy general manager of the Sharks, wanted something in return. Yao Ming is China's Michael Jordan. We cultivated him from childhood, made him to what he is today, Lee said. If we're being asked to give him up, don't you think we should get a high price? Their high price came in the form of 3 requests: the TV rights to show NBA games, money to help build a brand new stadium, and help in establishing new basketball schools. Lee claimed that an NBA team already offered the Shanghai Sharks $1 million to release Yao. Defame, Yao's mother, even offered $1 million herself for the Sharks to release Yao, but it did no good. Lee and the Sharks decided to hang on to Yao for another year. Yao dominated in his last season with the Sharks, averaging almost 30 points and 18 rebounds a game, while also averaging 5 blocks a game. Shanghai won the CBA championship, and the decision to finally let Yao go was made. As the 2002 NBA draft approached, Yao's mother was getting nervous. She even declared that if Yao didn't get drafted, that this was the end of basketball for him. He'd go to university and get a job, which is what she had hoped for him from the beginning. But then the Houston Rockets selected Yao Ming with the first overall pick in the 2002 NBA draft. And the rest is history. He adapted to the style of play and showed great promise, but injuries just derailed what could have been a long career. Still, in Yao's 8 seasons with the Rockets, he was a 5-time All-NBA selection and an 8-time All-Star. Of course, the NBA opening up All-Star voting for China might have had a little something to do with that. With injuries piling on, Yao retired at just 31 years old and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2016. His career may have been over, but his influence is far from it. He served as a bridge between the NBA and China, a gateway into building a growing partnership between the two. And since he was raised for the purpose of helping the Chinese basketball scene, he hasn't strayed away from it, even in retirement. In 2017, Yao was appointed the president of the Chinese Basketball Association. This gentle and humble giant was once thought to be the future of Chinese basketball, and he was. He continues in that tradition as the chairman of the CBA, helping guide the direction of Chinese basketball once again, of facilitating relations with the NBA, of finding the next Yao Ming in a pool of 1.3 billion people. It's a tall task, but he may just be up for it.